Before the noise arrives, before the screen glows and the world starts asking for your attention, there's a quiet moment that belongs to you. It may be only a breath long, a simple blink between sleep and waking, but it is your first freedom of the day. In that freedom, you decide what kind of person will live the next 24 hours through your body and your mind. Will it be the distracted one, pulled by every notification, or the steady one, guided by principles and strengthened by small, deliberate actions? That is the heart of our time together today. Essential Stoic habits to start your day right. Why does this matter so much? Because the morning is a teacher. It teaches you whether you are in control of your day or your day is in control of you. It shows you whether you are living by default or by design. And the Stoics, those practical philosophers of the ancient world, cared far less about clever ideas than about daily practice. They asked, what can I do this morning to be a little wiser, a little braver, a little kinder? Not tomorrow, not next month, this morning. Think of this episode as a gentle walk at dawn with a mentor. We will move through a handful of habits, 5, 6, perhaps 7. Depending on how your life receives them, each one small enough to do right away and strong enough to shape the whole tone of your day. You will notice that none of them require perfection. None requires expensive tools. What they require is willingness, attention, and the honesty to look at yourself without flinching. If you can bring those, the morning will meet you halfway. Breathe. Let your shoulders drop. Listen not just with your ears, but with your posture, with the muscles around your eyes, with the slow rhythm of your chest rising and falling. Now we begin. Part 1. Claim the morning. A minute of ownership. When you first wake, before you reach for your phone, claim 1 minute that belongs to you and to no one else. A minute is enough. Sit on the edge of your bed or place your feet on the floor. Feel the ground receive your weight. Without judgment, notice the state of your mind: foggy, restless, eager, heavy. Don't fight it. Name it. This is what a human mind feels like at 6 in the morning. Ownership begins with acknowledgement. Ask a simple question. What is mine to govern today? Not what is mine to worry about. What is mine to govern? Your body, how you breathe, how you hold yourself, your choices, especially the first ones. Your words, where you place them and where you keep them. Your focus, what you let in and what you decline. You cannot govern the traffic, the clients, the weather, or the random moods of other people, but you can govern your morning intention. That's enough to begin. If you'd like, place a hand over your heart and another on your abdomen. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4, feeling your lower hand rise first. Hold 1 beat. Exhale gently for a count of 6. Do 3 rounds. Notice how a longer exhale signals to your nervous system that you are safe. Safety is fertile soil for good choices. Then choose a sentence, a quiet creed for the day. It might be, I will meet things as they are, or I will steer my mind, not my circumstances, or today I practice courage, kindness, and clarity. Keep it short, present tense, and behavioral. This sentence is your steering wheel. You will refer to it again when things get loud. Why does this matter? Because first decisions multiply. The first minute without the phone makes the second minute possible. The first slow breath makes the second breath easier. The first sentence of intention makes the 10th conversation steadier. You are choosing a slope for the day, gently upward toward steadiness or gently downward toward reactivity. A slope seems small up close, but walk it for 12 hours and you arrive in very different places. If you forget all else, remember this: your morning is a frontier. Plant your flag. Even a single minute of ownership tells your mind, we are not drifting today, we are driving. Part 2. Premeditatio Malorum. Rehearsing reality with courage. The second habit is old and surprisingly tender. Premeditatio Malorum. The premeditation of difficulties. Some hear the phrase and think, isn't this pessimistic? But the Stoics were not trying to sour your mood. They were teaching you to meet reality with readiness. When you casually expect a frictionless day, you become fragile. When you calmly rehearse challenges, you become resilient. How to practice. After your minute of ownership, picture the day ahead like a simple map. You might see a meeting in the late morning, a difficult conversation around noon, a crowded commute, or a deadline after lunch. One by one, imagine those scenes with modest detail. Don't dramatize, don't catastrophize. Just walk into the room in your mind and look around. Who is likely to be there? What tends to happen? What part of you is usually triggered? Then ask, gently, what would a wise person do here? How would a calm version of me breathe? Which words would I avoid because they make things worse? Which words would I choose because they open a path forward? What do I control? What do I not control? You are writing a short script of skillful response, not to force life into your plan, but to make your mind flexible and prepared. Consider turning this into a tiny liturgy. When I meet traffic, I practice patience. When I meet an interruption, I practice kindness. When I meet criticism, I practice curiosity. When I meet success, I practice humility. Notice how each pairing strengthens you regardless of whether the event is pleasant or difficult. That's the secret. Everything becomes training. Nothing is wasted. You may think, but what if something I didn't predict happens? Then you have still practiced meeting reality with an open palm instead of a clenched fist. Preparation is not a promise that life will behave. Preparation is a promise that you will behave. Premeditation alters your nervous system's expectations. It tells your body, surprise is normal, discomfort is survivable, and your dignity does not depend on external smoothness. 10 minutes of this practice in the morning can save you hours of emotional turbulence later. And if 10 minutes feels like a lot, start with 2. Start where you are. Start today. Part 3, Morning Pages of Reason, a Stoic journal that actually serves you. Now we put pen to paper or thumbs to screen if you must, but pen to paper has a special gravity. The habit is a journal, simple and structured enough to keep you honest. Not a long essay, not a beautiful artifact, a tool. Think of your journal like a small, clear mirror that shows you the face you will offer the day. Begin with 3 brief movements. First, inventory. Ask, what am I carrying from yesterday? Are there lingering frustrations? Quiet resentments, loose ends? Write them down plainly. Seeing them shrinks them. You might discover that you're not actually upset with an entire department, just with one unanswered message and the story you told yourself about it. When you name the story, you can change it. Second, priorities. Choose 3 actions that, if done with care, would make today well lived. Not 33. Make them behavioral, visible, and finishable. Think about the report as vague. Draft the first 2 pages by 11:30 is concrete. This is not a productivity stunt, it's an ethical one. You are binding your will to deeds that matter. Third, character. Identify 1 virtue you will practice with intention today. Courage, patience, justice, temperance, honesty, perseverance, compassion. Choose 1. Then write a sentence that puts that virtue into motion. Practice courage by saying the thing that is true and useful, even if my voice shakes. Or practice temperance by leaving my phone in the other room until after breakfast. The journal transforms virtues from high words into low, practical actions. If you have time and appetite, add a short reflection. What trigger tends to pull me off course? Perhaps it's a certain tone of voice or feeling rushed, or a glance that you interpret as disapproval. Write the trigger, then write your if then. Response: if I feel rushed, then I slow my breath and ask for clarity. If I sense disapproval, then I check the facts before assuming. This is not self-help fluff. It is the Stoic art of implementation, moving from abstract intention to embodied behavior. Some mornings, the journal will feel flat. That's okay. You are laying tracks. On the day your emotions run high, those tracks keep the train from jumping. Some mornings, the journal will feel alive, as if your mind is opening windows to a larger sky. On those days, enjoy the breeze. But either way, right? Imagine the great emperor writing in his tent before dawn, not for an audience, but to remember the kind of man he wanted to be. You are doing the same. Part 4, Body, Breath, and the Discipline of Presence. Philosophy: at least the useful kind must reach the body. Otherwise, it floats above your life like a balloon you only sometimes remember to hold. The Stoics knew that your body is the first instrument of your mind. Where you place it, how you breathe in it, the sensations you allow or avoid, these shape your thoughts. So the 4th habit is a brief physical practice that wakes you fully. It could be a short walk while the neighborhood is still soft in the morning. It could be a few rounds of a movement you enjoy, push-ups against the counter, slow squats, a stretch that lifts your spine into length. It could be 5 minutes of breath work. Inhale, hold, exhale, pause, repeat with gentleness. The point is not to wind down, it is to be in your body on purpose. There's also a Stoic flavor of voluntary discomfort, not punishment training. A quick splash of cold water on the face or a cool rinse at the end of your shower. Leaving the house without headphones so you can meet the city as it is. Take the stairs when you'd usually take the elevator. Why? Because the mind becomes agile when it learns that comfort is optional for dignity. When you choose a small discomfort, you stop negotiating with every little inconvenience. You grow less delicate and more available. As you move, practice the simplest, oldest meditation. Feel your feet, see your surroundings, hear the world. Name 3 things you notice without evaluation. The light is pale, the air is brisk, the bird is insistent. This anchors you in the present. When the day later tosses you around, the body remembers this anchored feeling and can return to it faster. If you prefer stillness to movement in the morning, then sit. But sit as if your spine were a mast and your breath a steady wind. Choose a focal point, the sensation at the tip of your nose or the rise of your abdomen, or the sounds of the room. When thoughts arrive, and they will, greet them like travelers and let them pass. If one insists on staying, jot it down and return to your breath. Silence is not the absence of thought, it is the refusal to be bullied by it. Remember, you are not trying to earn worthiness with a perfect routine. You are trying to awaken fully so you can choose well. The body, treated with intention, becomes a friend to your virtue. Part 5. The Dichotomy of Control. Planning a day you can actually live. Now comes the habit that ties your morning together. Planning the day according to what you can and cannot control. The Stoics divided the world this way, not to shrink your ambition but to aim it properly. When your energy pours into what you can influence, you feel alive. When it drains into what you can't, you feel haunted and tired. Open your calendar or your mental schedule for each major block of time. Write a small note, controllable or not controllable, or a blend, a meeting's outcome, not fully controllable. Your preparation and presence, controllable. The commute time, not controllable. Your music or breath on the commute, controllable. A client's mood, not controllable. Your tone and pacing, controllable. Blood work results, not controllable. Whether you interpret them with panic or with a plan, controllable. Then, for the controllable elements, choose a standard. A standard is a behavior you can hit regardless of external results. In the meeting, I will ask one clarifying question and summarize the next step. In my deep work block, I will focus for 40 minutes before checking messages. If conflict arises, I will slow my speech and inquire rather than argue. Standards don't guarantee success, they guarantee dignity. Little by little, they also produce success. What about the uncontrollable elements? Bless them and set them aside. Not in a magical way, just in a disciplined one. You can literally write, outcome of X, not in my hands. If you notice yourself trying to drag that item back into your hands, smile at your mind's old habit and return to your standard. This is the mental equivalent of good posture. It keeps your day upright. To make this practical, choose one period each morning as a focus sprint. It might be the first hour at your desk or the half hour after breakfast. Remove what doesn't belong: extra tabs, wandering music, halfway conversations. Tell your mind, for this window, I choose depth. Then keep your promise. People say they're too busy for depth, but busyness is often the excuse we use to avoid the vulnerability of attention. Attention says, I will meet this task as if it matters. That can feel risky. Do it anyway. The day's tone will change. And here's a kindness: plan a margin. Stoicism is not austerity for its own sake. You are a human being, not a machine. Leave space for the unexpected. Leave space to be surprised by someone's goodness. Leave space to look up from your work and enjoy a piece of sky. A schedule that forbids grace will starve your spirit. A schedule that includes margin invites grace in. Part 6. The view from above. Perspective, purpose, and the shape of your character. Before you step fully into the tasks and tangled conversations of the day, Take 1 minute for a practice the Stoics loved, the view from above. In your mind, rise slowly past the ceiling, above the roofline, up to where your home becomes a small shape among many. See your street, your city, the winding roads that carry thousands of people with their own worries and hopes. Rise higher, rivers and coastlines, clouds and weather marching across a continent. Higher still, until the planet curves and dawn crawls like a golden hand across the surface. Now look back at yourself, a figure in a room, breathing. Why do this? Because perspective is medicine for the ego, not to diminish your life, but to place it in its true scale and to remind you that you are part of a larger order. What feels like everything is often one room in a large house. The email thread is not the cosmos. The disagreement is not the end of the world. Your identity is bigger than your current role. This minute rearranges your fear into humility and your anxiety into proportion. From this view, ask, if my day were a line in a longer story of my character, what kind of line would I write? Do I want to be remembered by myself tonight as the person who defended their pride, or as the person who defended their principles? Do I want to become the kind of person who keeps small promises to themselves? Do I stand for truth when it costs me convenience? These are quiet questions asked in a vast sky. They do not demand dramatic answers. They ask for consistent ones. Now bring your attention back down into the room, but keep some of that altitude inside your chest. This is the combination the Stoics pursued, to be deeply present in your duties and simultaneously aware of a wide horizon. The result is a steady, generous seriousness, a way of being that refuses to be brittle. If you like, carry a small token that reminds you of this view, a ring, a bead, a phrase on a card. When the day narrows into urgency, touch the token. Remember the curve of the earth wide beneath you. Let that space into your next breath and your next choice. Part 7. Begin with service, civility, gratitude, and the social animal. A Stoic morning is not only about your inner world. It is about the way you intend to move among others. We are social animals. Our well-being is braided together. So begin the day with a specific act of service or civility. It can be small. Write a brief note of thanks. Clean a shared space without announcing it. Prepare coffee for someone else. Send a message that encourages rather than accelerates panic. The point is to tilt the day outward. When you serve, you remind your nervous system that other people are not obstacles. They are partners in a shared project. Practice gratitude in a way that isn't performative. Name one gift you didn't earn that you will receive today. Maybe it's sunlight. Maybe it's the infrastructure that lets you drink clean water. Maybe it's the patience of a co-worker who will meet you halfway. Gratitude is not a denial of difficulty. It is a refusal to let difficulty define the whole picture. Notice how naming a gift makes you more likely to treat it with respect. Decide on a conversational standard for the day. Perhaps it is, do not speak of others as if they are not present. Perhaps it is, be honest without being unkind. Perhaps it is, listen for the need beneath the complaint. Your standard will often be tested by the first challenging conversation. You have good standards enjoy a chance to prove themselves. And when you inevitably stumble, because you will practice quick repair. If you snap, apologize. If you withhold useful information out of fear, correct it when you notice. If you forget your intention and wander into gossip, stop mid-sentence and step out. You are not aiming to be flawless, you are aiming to be honest and improve. The morning is a declaration of direction. Success is measured by returning to the path when you drift. Part 8. The Technology Truce, guarding your attention like a commons. Let's address a modern obstacle the Stoics didn't face directly, but would have taken seriously. The device that lives in your pocket. Attention is a commons, a shared field your mind uses for everything valuable. When you begin the day by auctioning your attention to the highest bidding distraction, you impoverish yourself. So make a truce with your technology before the day makes demands you cannot refuse. Decide when you will first check messages. Not never, just not now. Give yourself a window of presence first, if the thought arises. But what if I miss something urgent? Remember that true emergencies rarely arrive silently. If they do, you'll address them then. What you are protecting now is your ability to meet the day as a person, not as a notification feed. Create a small ritual that replaces the phone reach. Pour water and drink it slowly. Open a book to pages. Step outside and look at the sky for 30 seconds. Rotate these rituals if you like. Make them pleasant, not punitive. The goal is not a sterile life. It is a life you can actually feel. When you eventually enter the digital river, do it with intention. Check what is yours to check. Respond where your response adds value. Step out. Each time you exit, whisper your morning sentence, your creed. You are not leaving the world. You are returning to it. Part 9. Obstacles as assignments. Amor Fati in real time. Some days begin and then immediately go sideways. The plan collapses. The child is sick. The system fails. The construction crew starts early. In those moments, a Stoic morning shows its true strength. You are ready not only to endure the change, but to use it. Take one breath and apply the simplest formula. Here's the obstacle. Here's the assignment. If the obstacle is a delay, the assignment is patience with purpose. Use the time. If the obstacle is conflict, the assignment is courage with gentleness. Speak truth without spikes. If the obstacle is loss, the assignment is grief with dignity. Feel it fully and act with care. If the obstacle is insult, the assignment is sovereignty. Do not hand your self-respect to a careless mouth. Love of fate does not mean loving pain. It means loving the chance to practice virtue in the real conditions of your life. Write this in your journal if you can, today. This is my training. If you cannot write it, say it under your breath. Training turns resentment into fuel. It does not make the day easy. It makes you capable. Part 10. A sample morning, worn in like good leather. Let's stitch these habits together into a simple, humane sequence you can actually live. Wake. Pause for your minute of ownership and speak your creed. Breathe 3 gentle rounds. Sketch the day's likely challenges and rehearse your responses without drama. Journal your inventory, your 3 priorities, and your chosen virtue with one if-then plan for a known trigger. Move your body or your breath for 5 minutes, and, if you're willing, include 1 small dose of voluntary discomfort to grow your courage. Take the view from above for 60 seconds, then bring that sky with you back to the ground. Decide on your first focus sprint and the margin that will protect your humanity. Practice 1 act of service or civility before you leave the house. Make a truce with your technology, so attention remains a resource, not a casualty. And hold this truth lightly in your palm. Everything that happens next is material. If you do this only once, your day will be better. If you do it many times, your life will change shape. Part 11. Frequently asked hesitations. You might say, I'm not a morning person. Fair. This isn't about becoming a different species. It's about using the early part of the day to support the rest. If your peak energy comes later, shrink the morning version of these habits and expand the midday version. The principle holds. Begin your active period with intention, preparation, embodiment, perspective, service, and guarded attention. You might say, I don't have time. Time is often a story we tell when our fear doesn't want to be seen. Try 5 minutes. Can you find 5 minutes to own your first decisions? To rehearse 1 difficulty, to choose 1 standard, to bless 1 uncontrollable, to do 1 generous act. If 5 feels too much, try 3. When 3 minutes of honesty improve your next 3 hours, you'll see that time isn't the issue. Priority is. You might say, I tried journaling and it didn't stick. Consider simplifying. 1 page, 3 sections, to minutes, or record a voice memo if writing feels heavy. The habit that works is the one you'll do. We are aiming for steady, not fancy. You might say, isn't all this just self-help? If self-help means learning to help the self become more helpful to others, then yes, and gladly. Stoicism is not about the self as a project to polish. It is about the self as a citizen who contributes. A well-steered mind is not a hobby, it is a public good. Part 12. Closing the loop each evening. Before we conclude, a word about evenings. Mornings grow lighter when evenings carry their weight. At day's end, close the loop. Glance at your priorities. What moved? What stalled? What learned? Acknowledge a moment you're proud of and one you would choose differently next time. Offer yourself the same correction you would offer a friend. Set down anything that doesn't belong in your sleep. When you do, the morning greets you like a clearing rather than a storage closet. This is not about moral bookkeeping, it's about kindness. A person who rests honestly wakes less burdened. We have walked together through a dawn that asks for very little and gives quite a lot. 1 minute of ownership, a calm rehearsal of reality, a simple, useful journal, a body remembered and a breath trusted, a plan aligned with what you can actually control, a view from above that widens your chest, a small act of service that tilts your day toward the common good, a truce with technology that protects the rare coin of your attention, a posture toward obstacles that turns them into assignments. None of these is dramatic. All of them are within reach. Will you do them perfectly? No. You are not a machine, and perfection is not the Stoic aim. The aim is progress sincere, visible, cumulative. The aim is to live today a little more like the person you respect. The aim is to be useful where you are, steady in what you can control, and gracious with what you cannot. So, as the morning opens before you, ask yourself once more, what kind of person will live these next hours through me? Let your answer be simple and behavioral. Let it be something you can do. Then do it. When you forget, begin again. When you are tempted to flee into distraction, return to your breath and your standard. When you meet failure, meet it with dignity and extract its lesson before you set it down. When you meet success, meet it with humility and gratitude and continue the work. Perhaps your creed today is this: I will steer my mind and serve the common good. Or I will be brave in small ways and kind in all ways. Or I will meet things as they are and do the next right thing. Carry your sentence like a smooth stone in your pocket. Touch it when you need courage. Touch it when you need restraint. Touch it when you need to feel that you are free. And if you listen closely, you might hear a quiet chorus under everything we've said. A gentle rhythm older than any philosophy. Begin again. Begin again. Begin again. You don't have to earn the right to start over. Mornings are generous that way. Every sunrise is an invitation. You are not late. You are right on time. So stand or sit a little taller. Breathe. Look around. The day is here. You are here. And that is enough to start well. Now, go live it.